Landscaping live with another amazing landscape drainage solution that has solved this customer's outdoor landscape drainage problems once and for all. And I want to help you understand what we were able to do here, because we provided for this customer over 1,000 linear feet of this custom dry creek bed. That's right, 1,000 square feet custom dry creek bed installation allowed for us to be able to give this customer back their landscape in the most exceptional fashion. And the way in which we did that is by being able to give them a solution that dealt with the water that was coming in on their landscape. So let me take you through this property so that you can see exactly what we were able to do. And then most importantly, you can understand how you're going to be able to solve landscape drainage problems if you find yourself in a similar situation. Now, as you can see within this landscape, this customer had a tremendous amount of water that was able to move in on their landscape, coming from their home as well as coming from their neighbor's yard. So this custom dry creek bed was absolutely necessary. So I'm going to take you through this so that you can see exactly what we were able to do, but most importantly, the functionality of it. So first, anytime you deal with landscape drainage, guys, you got to understand where the water is coming from. In this landscape, we had a tremendous amount of water that was able to enter into this landscape just based on the way that the development was created. That's right, the way that the builders graded the entire property made it so that the water that was coming from the neighbor's yard also impacted this particular landscape. It also impacted the next neighbor and the next neighbor. And we see this often when we're dealing with drainage problems, is that the water has to go somewhere. So as you can see this hillside over here, all of that water has to be dealt with. So what we did is we came up with a solution that allowed for us to be able to take in our beautiful custom dry creek bed design and then be able to reappropriate that water by sucking it up first and then being able to ensure that it's not able to move outside of the dry creek bed. So this is what it looks like. It says that the water that was once coming off of this side of the landscape, it now has to enter into this particular area that you see here, which is also allowing for it to go through this particular area here, which is the decorative gravel, ultimately being able to fall into this drainage solution, which is the dry creek bed, and then being able to be taken off of the landscape. And these are just some marvel of engineering when you think about the way in which we're dealing with water on a landscape. The customer told me, Greg, this isn't just a landscape solution, this is art. And I would definitely have to say that I agree with him. When you look at the way in which we solved the customer's landscape drainage problem from the water that was coming off of this hillside, guys, all of that which was continuing to beat up this customer's landscape, it says that now we're able to reappropriate that water so that it goes into an area that is defined specifically for it. So this beautiful aggregate here that you see, this river rock sucks up a tremendous amount of water. And so now as this water would have fallen into the path of least resistance just based on coming from the neighbor's yard, it's now going to be able to find itself being dealt with within this custom dry creek bed. And so if you're a homeowner and you're looking for a better way to solve your drainage problem, especially in your backyard, oftentimes they have a lot to do with the water that you have no control over. We're talking about the water that comes from your neighbor's yard. So one of the ways that you can begin to have control over your yard is to begin to look at a custom dry creek bed installation. What it does is it allows for you to take back control over the water. It allows for you to be able to appropriate the water to a specific area. And then most importantly as well, it allows for you to be able to suck that water up and have a functional outdoor living experience. As you can see within this dry creek bed design, what happens now is that water, as it moves in on this landscape, falling from the path of least resistance from the neighbor's yard, as well as that which comes in from the customer's yard, says that it's going to now be taken through this dry creek bed design that we've created for the customer, and it's then going to be taken through this entire landscape drainage solution. That's right, we're talking about being able to have a dry creek bed that can move water at a rapid pace off the landscape. One of the biggest benefits of a dry creek bed, guys, is that it also sucks up water that comes into it. So all the water that's going to be moving in this area right here, it's all going to fall into this dry creek bed. So as you can see, this is one of the ways in which we have been able to help a tremendous amount of homeowners save their outdoor living area by solving their landscape drainage problem. But as you can see throughout this entire area, guys, the water just keeps moving. No longer will it continue to move on this landscape, but because we've given this customer an amazing landscape transformation. Now, In addition, it also says that if you're looking to grow a business or scale a business, if you're in the landscaping industry, I want to give you some tips that are going to help you understand how you can do even better than you currently are. One of the ways that you can do so is by being able to focus on niche services. That's right. Being able to identify an area within your specific field of service and be able to focus on that at a high rate. So maybe you're a plumber and there's a specific type of job that you could do that takes you less amount of time that you can scale. That's something that you want to begin to invest a lot of your time in. That's what we've been able to do with this custom dry creek bed. When you begin to break down the numbers and understand the way in which we're able to utilize this type of scaling method to provide a rock, but more importantly, a design, is what we get paid for. The design allows us to be able to hyperscale our business because simply the material cost doesn't represent the way in which the design is actually paid for. So you pay more for the design than you do for the actual materials. Now, most of the times people have a 50-50 split. Whatever you pay for materials, that's about what you pay for your labor. But when you start working with landscape drainage, when you start focusing on solving problems, guys, you don't got to worry about that consciousness of thought, because when you solve a problem, there is no price point that can be put on it. It really comes down to your ability to make it look absolutely beautiful while also solving the problem. And so when you can do that, you position yourself in a way that allows for you to be able to exceed your competition, because your competition oftentimes is just looking to solve the problem if they can even find it. But you, on the other hand, you have the ability to not only solve the problem, but also provide the customer with the ability to have a lifelong installation or a solution that they're going to remember because of the way in which you went about solving the problem, the way you took a little bit more time, the way you gave a little bit more quality, a little bit more quantity of service than that would have been expected. That's how you position yourself in order to be able to take advantage of growing your business, is by understanding the way in which it's done. And one of those ways is through niche services. Another way is through marketing. You see, marketing is an avenue by which you're able to articulate to a customer's pain point a solution that provides them with an ability to be able to see you as one of the greatest pieces of their puzzle. And what do I mean by that? I mean that when you think about marketing, you have to understand that when you market, you're trying to give a customer a reason to purchase your product. No better way than to help them identify a problem that they have, and then focus on that problem and help them identify what happens if they don't solve that problem, and then also provide an amazing solution to that problem. Now, if you can add that into your toolbox, you're going to have a multitude of things that you can do, guys, that are going to grow your business, and you're going to be able to have more than just one thing that you're able to scale within your business. And if you're like most people, you're not able to grow your business just doing one thing, but rather you have to offer multiple services. Well, now, when you begin to utilize the niche service marketing approach that I'm talking about, you can take just one service like drainage solutions, become an expert in it, and then market that service in particular, but also provide other landscape services. And it allows for you to be able to scale your business just based on the way in which you went about it. I understand that the material cost versus the labor cost far exceeds that of if I put in a paver patio, because it's just based on square footage. It has nothing to do with my artistic design of being able to come up with the way to deal with the water that was at its lowest point on this landscape, and then being able to come up with my own design that dealt with all the water on this hillside. That's artistic experience, landscape drainage experience, and multiple decades in the business. Well, you have value in that type of service. And so the way that you create that value is by making sure that you niche yourself, meaning that you position yourself so that you become the expert, not at everything, but at one thing and or a couple of things within your industry. You know, you've always heard the saying, the individual that thinks that they knows it all truly knows nothing at all. And jack of all trades typically is a master of none. What I want you to do is master one or two things, and then I want you to master it based on the way in which you're going to be able to scale. So if it doesn't make you money and it doesn't provide your customers with a way to be able to be satisfied to the utmost, don't make it something that you continue to master. If you're good at it already, great. If it makes you a tremendous amount of money and your customers like it, great. That's what you want to focus on in 2025. And then you also want to understand the power of AI, the power of digital technology. That's right. Digital technology has the ability in 2025 to provide you with the ability to grow in a way like you've never thought of. We're talking about being able to take a simple concept such as what you see here with this video and put in a whole bunch of tools that make it even easier for our customers to be able to receive this information, but more importantly, that makes it even easier to be found. That's right. AI is giving us the ability as business owners to be able to take what we do every day and provide it to a customer in a more efficient way. And when you can begin to leverage this type of technology, it gives you so much more of advantage within your particular field of service. And so when you think about landscaping, understanding AI is allowing us to have a virtual assistant. So that way we never have to answer the phone. I never answer the phone anymore. When the phone rings, a virtual assistant answers it. There's about 4 or 5 questions. Ultimately, when you answer the phone as a lawn care or a landscape professional, most of the time you say the same thing. You just need to get their contact information so that you can follow back up with them appropriately. If you're doing business at a high level, you can't just schedule them right then and there. So you need to cut out the individual that maybe you pay, could be yourself or maybe someone else, and let them do something else. And then you can pay a virtual assistant just 44 cents a day, and you'll be able to truly scale your business at a high level. And so AI innovation is going to be big as you start to understand the way in which you're going to be able to communicate with your customers on autopilot. That's right, on autopilot, meaning that our customers are communicating with us 24/7, submitting their quote requests 24/7. Ads are being delivered to them 24/7, and it all says that I'm being able to sit in the comfort of my home and or be able to be out on the job site while all of this is taking place. And so that's why I've invested into the digital business card company that I created back in 2020, because I understood that being able to put more time on my clock was going to allow for me to create better content for you all, but was also going to allow for me to spend time with my family. And that's what this is all about. Getting time back on your clock just means that you're going to be able to appropriate it to do whatever you want to. So that's what we're helping you guys do at our Landscape Geeks Learning Academy that's turned into something even bigger. It's turned into a financial institute. Although I'm not a financial advisor and this isn't financial advice, it does say that if you want to be able to grow your business as a business owner, you have to understand that most of the times you don't have a 401k. Okay, so if you don't have a 401k and you have a business, it says that you may be a small business. And so if you're a small business, you have to have some type of investment plan and or retirement strategy. So for some of you all, that might look like a Roth IRA that you max out every single year. Like if you're making over $100,000, you should be maxing out your Roth IRA every single year, especially if you're under 40 years old. But that's just one way. If you're under 40 years old, you have the ability to begin to invest in the stock market, such as Apple, Google, Netflix, a lot of the things that you use daily, you can begin to invest in. So you need a nest egg that you can begin to utilize when you get into your early and late 50s, when you find yourself not able to work. Maybe you want to go with a fixed index IUL. Maybe you want to position yourself so that you put a lump sum of money up and it continues to grow at 7 to 10% for the next 20 years. The reality is you don't have anyone that's going to match what you're paying. You don't have anyone that's going to match your 401k plan. So you have to strategically think about, as a business owner, what can you do in order to be able to accrue as much assets as possible? Something like silver, something like gold. Those are ways in which you can retain your wealth. And so it's not about buying a bunch of vehicles. It's not about getting the biggest house. It's about being able to pass something down to your children. And the way in which you're able to do that is by understanding that as a small business owner, you don't have a 401k, guys. And so it's necessary that you begin to understand that a Roth IRA is one of the most important ways to go, but it shouldn't be the only way. As a business owner, a small business owner, you have to understand that you need a basket of different diversified assets that you invest in. Like, you might buy a piece of land for $5,000 to $10,000 and do nothing with it for 5 to 10 years until somebody comes around and they want to buy it for 25 grand. Like, you might begin to invest in that way. Let me tell you 3 ways that you're going to make money in America. Unfortunately, this is the only way you become a millionaire. Okay? The first way is to be a business owner. So if you're a business owner and you're listening to me right now, then you're going to fall into that category easily. The second way is to invest into real estate. So if you invest in real estate, you're now going to be able to have an appreciating asset that continues to grow, in which you can borrow off of and make even more money. More than that, the stock market. If you can begin to invest into the stock market, do really well just based on working within a basket of indexes that we know have what I like to call a moat around them. That means that these businesses are going to do well no matter what, because of the amount of cash flow that the company has. Well, by doing so, you're going to position yourself over the next 20 years to receive all the dividends, to receive all the stock splits, to receive all that takes place within the technological boom of AI. That's where, as a 40-year-old and under, you want to position yourself if you're a business owner. You want to be able to take control over, if you're a business owner, how your information is going to be used. That's right. So if you're creating content every single day, guys, you have to understand that you must document the process. The same amount of individuals that are watching me right now, imagine how many more people are going to watch me 10 years from now. And the reality is, it could be this exact same video. So I want you to make sure that you document your process no matter what you do, because we've learned that your attention is more valuable than the job that you do. See, because you can get paid 10,000 times over for a job that you do in which you captured and documented the process. And you're going to get the algorithm to continue to feed that to people over and over and over again. That's why my channels continue to grow, because I'm talking about substance that allows for you to grow. And when you can provide more value than that of what most people are able to get out of a normal conversation, you're going to truly be able to enhance your outdoor living experience for your customer, but you're also going to scale and close every single job. And so when you think about growing your business, you also got to think about growing your wealth. And your wealth is tied to your ability to maintain your health, but most importantly, be able to maintain the amount of money that you make. I mean, guys, think about it. We spend so much time out here on the job site, and it takes up a lot of our time. And it says that if you've been in business for 15 to 20 years, you truly understand that you can go through business for 15 to 20 years and have nothing to show for it. Literally nothing at all to show for it. Because what I'm talking to you about wasn't on the minds of the individuals that had the small business. They wasn't thinking about taking a portion of what they make every single month and investing it into their favorite companies such as Apple. You have an Apple phone. You use Apple every single day. Your kids use Apple. Apple is going to be around for the next 50 years. But it says for the next 25 years, you do have an ability to dollar cost average into it. That's right, just $15 every time you think about it, every other week. But what it does for you is it allows for you to begin to have an asset that you own. You see, the problem with most people is that we only own our home. That's right. See, we think that we have an asset in our home, but really our home is a liability to most people unless it's paid off. But even once it's paid off, you're still paying property taxes. You're still paying for the water heater that might have busted. You're still paying for the AC that may have went out. So when you begin to understand that an asset doesn't have to look like a home, it can simply look like 50 shares of Apple. That's right. An asset is the stock market. Because if you understand the richest man in the world is Elon Musk, he's worth over $450 billion. He's already pledged to use 48% of his capital that he has in his stock to be able to leverage against it in order to get a loan. So when you start thinking about your ability to leverage against your existing assets for a loan, oh man, how do you do that? Well, first, you gotta have stocks, guys. How else can you do that? Well, first, you gotta have some thought consciousness of being able to say, hey, man, what about this land that I have? Can I borrow against these 15 acres? Yes, you can. And you can use that money and you can leverage it to make more money. Now, that's just the first two that I told you. Now, the third one, which I think is important for every person growing into 2025 and necessary, is to be a business owner. You're not listening to me right now if you're not a business owner, or if you don't aspire to be a business owner. Because if you aspire to be a business owner, then you understand the reason why I'm telling you that that's how wealth in America is generated, because it has no cap. That's right. There's no limits to it. Now, we may be only able to do 300 jobs that look like this in an entire year. We may be only capped out by how much we can do physically. But in 2025, you got to understand that digitally, you can reach millions of people all across the country and even all across the world. And if all of those individuals paid you a small percentage for your expertise, you'd be easily able to scale your business beyond that of what you may think you can do with your service or with your product. And so that's why I want you to begin to understand that, especially if you're in the service industry, guys, you have to document the process, because it's just like Shark Tank. You're going to be able to sell it 10 years from now. And who knows what's going to happen. You see, when I first started my business, guys, I didn't know that Facebook was going to be around. I just made a bunch of live videos on Facebook. And it just so happened that now my customer base, being 35 and older, they're all on Facebook. And now it just so happens that Facebook's plan the entire time was to be able to monetize off of those individuals. And so now I'm able to market myself within a niche service on a platform that I dominate because I've been there so long. All right. And so when you begin to understand that as a service industry professional, you can say that most people can dominate the landscape space within the Facebook. But no matter what service you offer, if you can understand the way in which your customer behavior exists, you can dominate. And so when I put my content together on YouTube, I know that I could do a lot of clickbait stuff, but I understand that one of the ways right now in this season that I'm growing my business is by being able to create content that makes it easier for my business to be found. Now, let's think about that, guys. If you create content that puts your business name as well as whatever service and or product that you're doing, you can now tell somebody to just simply Google your name and or that service as well. So, hey, Google Brooks Landscaping Dry Creek Beds. You're going to see populate every single video that I've ever made and posted to YouTube available on Google. You know why? Because Google owns YouTube, guys. And so as you start to understand that the most intimate object that is owned is our smartphone, then you start to understand that if you can position yourself on YouTube to articulate a message in a way that gives the customer value, then right then and there, you have the ability to sew up in their mind whether or not you're going to be the candidate for them, because they automatically see you as a professional. I mean, if you're in a 50-mile radius and you're the only person with over 10,000 people that follow you on Instagram or follow you on Facebook or follow you on YouTube, it automatically makes you look like an expert. And so what we're helping you identify is, in order to do that, you must understand the way that it works. And it simply says you create content, and within that content that you create, you put your business name and you put the product in it, and you do it 30 times just for SEO. Then you start to come back and create these live videos like what you see me doing. I'm just giving out great, valuable information to any business owner that could help them scale. Now, one of the easiest ways to scale is through a customer relations management tool, a CRM. A lot of people don't know what that is. I use Cardius.com. It's not only a CRM, but it's a digital business card. So it allows for me to be able to take a video and easily make it seen for my customers. And that's what I suggest you begin to look at as well. How do you create something that makes it easier for your customers to be able to engage with you? And so that's what we focused on, and that's what we've been able to really utilize as a piece of technology that begins to give our customers the Amazon effect. Because let's face it, guys, how many people actually go to your website from their smartphone? None. Nobody does. Don't worry. It's okay. Nobody goes to your website from their smartphone. It's okay. You don't even go to websites from a smartphone. It's okay. But what you got to understand is if you're in the service industry business or you're in the business of selling goods and services, you have to find a way to be able to communicate on the most intimate object that individuals own, which is their smartphone. So what we've done through Cardius AI is we've given the ability to be able to replicate your existing website with the exact same information on a more user-friendly platform, such as a digital business card that also comes with an app that allows for you to be able to get real-time notifications as people move around on your card, but also allows for you to be able to have a CRM, a lead center, that makes it even easier. And so those are some of the things that we're doing in 2025 that are helping us grow and scale our business. But it also says that these are some of the things that you can begin to do that's going to help you scale and grow your business when you think about the reality that if you're a small business owner, most likely you don't have a 401k. So you need to figure out what a Roth IRA is. You need to understand what an irrevocable trust is. You need to understand how you can begin to leverage within the stock market. You need to understand how real estate works. These are things that as small business owners, as entrepreneurs, we get excited about. And I want you to be excited as well. And I'll see you guys again soon. I know I've spent a lot of time talking. Hopefully you found something educational on this video. And until next time, I'll see you guys around.